Alright everybody, today we're going to be doing something a little different than normal. We're going to be doing a review for Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon. This game we were lucky to get early access review form to, and I've enjoyed it. Hope you will too. We're going to be talking about some key points and then give it a score at the end. Number one is combat. It's very versatile. You can play as a mage, warrior, archer, whatever traditional roles, but none of them really matter in this game. You can do what you want. As a mage, you can use daggers, sword, even bows have magic, and shields. Some people use shields. There's wands, cubes, summons. There's even a spell you can use to turn blood to cheese. The one-handed weapons that I've found so far are axe, mace, an arm, a sword, dagger, and shield. Two-handed is great sword, great axe, warhammer, dual wielding, all one-handed weapons. As an archer, you can do arrow crafting and shoot fire arrows, probably better than me. And like I said before, some bows even have mana tied to them. So you really want to utilize dashes to negate damage, and be sure to dodge around. It gives you a sort of like invincibility frame. You also need to make use of parry. Parrying's pretty tough, if I'm being honest. Yeah. But it's pretty useful if you can get it down. Like, you can just parry and then wail on them. So next we're going to be talking about the different armor. There's light, medium, and heavy. With light, you get less armor, obviously, less weight, but you have better mana regenerations, attack speed, casting speed, dash speed, and even an additional dash. With medium, you get one less dash, but a higher form of armor. There's no changes to mana or anything, but it looks cool. So with heavy, you get obviously the biggest armor boost, but you're limited to one dash. So the leveling is pretty similar to Oblivion and Skyrim, but also with perks. You can see I'm just jumping in a corner here. Ba-boom! Level up! Me and my boys. Alright, so under strength, there's one-handed, two-handed, unarmed, blocking, athletics. Athletics is like running around. Endurance, light armor, medium armor, and heavy armor. Dexterity, you have archery, evasion, which is your dodge, agility, also dodge, sneak, and thief. Spirituality is magic, Practicality is alchemy, cooking, and handcrafting. We'll get into all of that later. So here's the different skill trees. There's unarmed, two-handed, one-handed, which includes dual wielding, and general, which is just general melee damage. Under endurance, we have shields, stamina, and health. Dexterity, we have parry, attack speed increase, movement, which is extra dash, and bows. So for all you archers, quite a big skill tree. Spirituality, you have wands and cubes. I still don't know enough about them, honestly. Summoning, which I've invested heavy in to use mana battery. Spell power increase. Including elemental. Yeah, general is just extra mana, and when you have lower mana, it gives you extra damage. Under perception, we have stealth, daggers, fun, and critical hits. Practicality is pretty unique. You have health, crafting, and also sales price, statuses, and poisons and fire and stuff, and then armor. You can even go Hedgehog Knight, reflect damage. So the attributes are strength, which does melee damage, max stamina, and armor weight. Endurance, which does max health, encumbrance, and stamina regen. Dexterity does attack speed, noise, and ranged. Spirituality is spell power, max mana. Practicality is crafting bonus, weak spot damage, stamina and mana cost, and price of sold goods. Perception is critical damage, critical chance, and sneak damage. Very useful. There's also the King's Soul ability, which is kind of tied to story, so I won't get too much into that. The next topic we'll be talking about is enemies. There's bandits, there's outlaws, highwaymen, and even desperate peasants. There's all kinds of monsters. There's undead. Some of the animals are commonly wolves and sometimes bears. Also, hunt deer because you can use all of that for leather. Weird spawn are ghost-looking shadow figures. They're one of the only enemies that level with you. There's also weird spirits, mistlings, and the stalker, but we'll get into that later. The story is a dark Arthurian fantasy related to the Tainted Grail board game and Tainted Grail conquest. During each crisis, King Arthur is resurrected from the grave. Will you be the one to choose to end the cycle? There's Fallout New Vegas style choices with differing factions that have severe consequences. There's multiple map locations, like the Horns of the South is pretty large, and also Aquanacht. There's even more, I just haven't gotten there. Crafting. Cooking in a cooking pot is gonna be your go-to. You can do it from random ingredients or from recipes, but they stack. You can do alchemy from alchemy stations like the one I just showed you, or there's benches as well. Now you can craft potions like health and mana, but also unique effects. There's also throwables. Alcohol is used for all of them, so hold on to those. With handcrafting, you can do armor, arrows, leatherwork, lockpicks. You usually do it at this place. It's called grindstone, but it's usually just like a workbench. The houses also have all of these as well, if you manage to own a home. So next we'll explain the stash box. The stash box is pretty similar to every other game. You just throw stuff in there. Easy as that. It does link to a lot of the crafting stations, which is nice. So the next big point we'll talk about is leisure. In the game, there is wood chopping. You can go to different spots. There's a hunter area, and here in Horns of the South Keep. You can also do mining with a pickaxe and digging for treasure with a shovel. Yep, that's right, you can own a pet. And yes, you can pet him. Found this little bastard in a cave. I've not dismissed him yet. 10 out of 10.
Some seeds.
So there is farming in the game. I have yet to kind of like get the hang of it. I went to one of these planters and I was able to plant one seed, but I ended up like nodding to the guy instead of hearing the next option for what he was gonna say, and I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what to do next, and I don't know if there's further farming later in the game, but I'm sure there is. So one of the coolest things, but also one of the hardest to acquire because of the amount of gold it takes, is owning a house. In the Horns of the South, there's one like right on the waterfront in the village. You can run around, go into decor mode, and change different options. They actually just changed this, so I don't know if this is going to be the same upon release. But I had a lot of fun. You just go in there and change it how you want it. I would really like if they added the ability to like sit in your chairs and maybe have like a follower come over and hang out or something. There's also a house in Kuanacht as well, which is 50,000. I don't know about in the other locations. Just haven't made it that far in the game yet. But like I said, this one is right on the waterfront, which leads us to everybody's favorite pastime. That's fishing. So the fishing minigame works similar to most fishing minigames. Probably the worst part is you gotta sit there and wait for a while, unless you're in the right spot. You have a bar and you just gotta stay in the bar. But you can get a lot of free food this way for cooking. And unless it's a special, super special fish, it usually always just transfers to a fish fillet. Everybody loves fishing. This guy's dad is great at fishing.
I know, it's very special. Do you want to try fishing with me until my dad gets here? Great. Dad taught me to angle the rod to the side.
His dad taught him that.
Swing it back before casting.
Let's have a go at it. Oh,
I'm sure you'll catch something.
caught the word soccer again. So let's get to the big review phase. All right, number one, let's talk about the price point. So in the US, it is $44.99 for Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon. There's also the supporter pack for $54.99. Supporter pack DLC is a digital album, digital art, and you guessed it, horse armor. It might be coming to Game Pass, we don't really know. Right now it's got a 9 out of 10 on Steam with positive reviews. So let's get to the pros and cons. Some of the pros: it is very fun. I think it's a perfect release timing for gamers that have possibly Oblivion Remastered burnout. They have a small team with 50 plus that takes care of feedback and actually implement community requested changes. Third person spawn from a Discord request. This game is their baby, and future content is pretty much guaranteed. Let me tell you, the game has come a very long way since its early access. Here's a little bit of gameplay of whenever I tried streaming it from my PC. It was just a mess. I mean, not just the PC situation, but I mean, the game was having some issues. But like I said, like, the difference is night and day. It has come a really long way. It honestly has a rewarding combat system that is very versatile and suits your playthrough essentially. Like, there's unique spells and a larger weapon selection than most games. I've still yet to try them off, I'm being honest. Jeez! Almost every NPC is related to some type of quest, especially in the Horns of the South. Everyone I came across essentially in the Horns of the South had some type of quest related to them. There's side quests galore. The game was made with mod support in mind, and it should be embraced after launch, so get ready. There's hours of immersion. I literally didn't want to stop playing. There's some pretty cheeky dialogue that had me laughing out loud. You can invest in fishing? We're visited by our friend again. He's just sitting there. The game's an Arthurian fantasy with rich lore. It's a beautiful and dark world. This is Kuanacht. It's just awesome. There's a very large initial map, the Horns of the South, and the new map, Kuanacht, honestly feels like walking into a whole new game. It's very refreshing after several hours of Horns of the South. How much gold you get from enemies and kills and quests feels right. The game economy feels solid. Leveling feels fast enough. It's not too fast for me. It is for some people, but I enjoy power leveling. Only certain enemies level with you, mainly the weird spawn. You get a cute-ass baby monster that accompanies you even in the dark depths of the weirdness and the spirit plane. And once again, yes, you can bet. Honestly, some of the bugs are pretty funny. Okay. Like here, I've got my summons showed up and they're helicoptering and T-posing around.
been camped here for 3 moons.
It's
There's
a
no life for
silly
me
thing.
outside this cave. If I can't get through, this is where my story ends.
Okay.
It's just that we don't see
Another
many new
fun part
faces
was
here.
whenever I was running away from some guards, and then
Just
a
us
random
and the
guard
locals and,
approached
well,
me and asked me
you
to
haven't
go
noticed
buy
yet,
a
they're
book
not the friendliest bunch.
for his pregnant wife. And then also was like, yeah,
You've seen
they're not very
nothing
friendly
yet.
people.
They'd spit right in our eyes if they weren't afraid for their hides. We're here for their own good, but they just refuse to understand that. It's not like I don't have better things to do with my
The
life.
collector's edition statue is amazing. Now, some of the cons, unfortunately, because they're a small team, that means it's longer to fix certain things.
Chase me out of her bookshop and won't let me back
You may
in.
not like it if you don't like Oblivion, or open world games, or Arthurian
Well,
fantasies.
Could you? I'd be really grateful. Just don't tell her it's for me. She won't sell it to you otherwise. Please, I'll pay you back. I'll even throw in something extra. Please, for my wife. Oh, thank you. You're a lifesaver.
The night is full of weird spawn and dense weird mist, which unfortunately limits the beauty of the daytime. There's no local map in the dungeons, which can make them kind of confusing. But you actually can go out and buy a sketchbook in the game and do it yourself, honestly. There's only a few respawning items in open world sacks and crates, and that limits replayability and can make a place you visited feel a bit emptier. Here's a big one. There's no New Game Plus right now, but it is the most requested thing in the Discord, so maybe in the future. Some of the cutscenes needed some touching up. They possibly made them early on, but didn't update them. They might be updated on release. Some of the NPCs seemed a bit too similar as far as like their clothing and their mannerisms and stuff, but not the dialogue. The dialogue was very unique for almost every NPC. It drastically changes when you get to the new map location. In Kunoct, almost like everything is different. Like I said, it's almost a completely different game. You can miss out on key story and side quests just by one wrong dialogue choice. I actually missed out on a pretty huge thing early on because I took a unique path to further my story. So that's a... But I was able to eventually go back and redo those because I didn't kill the wrong person or anything. That's a pro or con. You decide, but it did happen to me. The game difficulty can be either a pro or a con as well. Some people want difficult games, you know, some people don't. Can't go on without talking about bugs. In the Horns of the South, there was a frame rate issue that seemed to pop up after I completed several quests. It started around the blacksmith area and brought the game to a standstill at times, like frames dropped to like 0.
Many have tried.
Possibly
I
the
thought I was
campfires, the
worthy,
stash
but
boxes,
failing.
inventory might
I've
be the
been camped
problem.
here for 3 moons.
Game crashes
There's no life for me
sometimes
outside this cave.
when going to
If I
different
can't get
areas in
through,
the open map,
this is where
so
my
save
story
often.
ends.
But that's still notably less than Oblivion Remastered. Someone's pushing you around during dialogue. It's cute at first, but, you know, after a while when you're in the middle and you're trying to be really immersed and like a T-posing dude runs up and kills you. Death negating items just didn't work for me, as you can see. The weird stalker got me again. Ultimately, though, don't let those scare you off. There was also like a user interface issue with crafting, but that's not that big of a deal. The dev team is constantly working on this stuff. They usually personally reply in the Discord. They even put out an update while I was finishing up this video. So, now, let's get to the review scores. When it comes to story, it's a 10 out of 10. I love it. Combat, I'm going to say an 8.5 out of 10. It's really awesome, but it is challenging and in-depth, and that will turn some casuals away. But if you play the game enough, you'll love it. The leveling system, I'm going to say it's a 9 out of 10. It's my favorite leveling system in any game. It's being held back by the fact that you have to level up at campfires. The immersion, 10 out of 10. Didn't want to stop playing. Didn't want to do anything after I played this game. Now here's the hitch. The lowest score for the review, unfortunately, is quality. I'm going to have to give that a 6 out of 10. It'd be dishonest to say there weren't issues here. But that number could go up after the patches, and like I said earlier, they're already releasing an update for the game launch. Replayability, I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. There's many different play styles, many different skills, paths you can choose. I'd say it would be higher if they added New Game Plus. Give you a reason to keep your stuff and keep playing. Crafting, I'm going to say 7.5 out of 10. I really like it, but not everyone will. It could be better. It could be like possibly more visible, have animations some people have recommended. Out of leisure, I'm going to give it also a 6.5 out of 10. It could be better, and it will be in the future with updates. Keep in mind, this isn't a AAA studio, and with a team of only 50 plus, they made one of my most anticipated games ever. So I'm honestly going to give them a whole additional point for that. Adding it up, currently the average is an 8.1. But like I said, I'm giving an additional point for a small studio, so it's a 9.1 for me. It could be a 9.5 if it didn't have as many bugs, and if they get the bug fixes out in time for launch. And I'd say it'd be a 10 out of 10 with future updates, like if they add on to the game and give more DLC, and if it's added to Game Pass so more people can enjoy it. I've been watching this game for a long time, and it's already exceeded my expectations. Even the wife loved it. If you've hung out this long, I really appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out through the review. Now I'm going to cover my personal playthrough. I originally started with double daggers and archer in the beta, doing Caradocking around. I'm currently playing a mage spellblade using summons as batteries for spell power and mana regen. Light armor, invested in endurance and spirituality, that way I have higher encumbrance and more mana. I started with life siphon spells and a life stealing sword. I started using summons after finding them in the caves, specifically the crypts if you're looking for it. Here's some of the original gameplay with the double daggers. In fact, they actually changed all this. These two people weren't even there in the opening anymore.
There he is. Now that we're all
This was
here,
actually
reaching
from
you
before the
comrades,
Kuanacht
conquer and
update.
Syria. Get some rest, people. Prepare for the journey. We're leaving at dusk.
Not so fast, brother. I'm not getting near a goddamn boat unless I know where I'm going.
Away from here, brother. Isn't that enough?
Offer you wish. But since we're all here and we have some time to kill, it would be nice if you finally explained what the hell's going on. You've helped us leave our cages, great. But even though we're grateful, you owe us an explanation. What do you want from us?
To show some damn gratitude for one thing.
Caradoc, we weren't born yesterday. No one would risk getting into trouble with the priests for nothing. Why did you save us?
So good tactic to use with daggers is the smuggler dagger. It's amazing for farming. You get 10 gold for every kill, and you can use 2 of them for 20 gold each kill. Get it from the jailer in the Horns of the South and in the Smuggler's Bay Cave. A potential gold making strategy is to use the origin potions for a bunch of money. It was found by a Discord member that posted in the Tainted Grail Discord. There's a limited supply for the whole game though, so only use them if you're really certain you love your build. You can redistribute all of your points into practicality and then get better gold price. and then just use another potion and change back your attributes to another build. Like I said, make sure you like your build before you do this. Then you just invest in the mercantile skill. So, we have to talk about the Weird Stalker. This is something that plagued several hours of my review. So, apparently the Weird Stalker is provoked at a certain part in the storyline. Potentially, he starts showing up in the night as a very, you know, just menacing weird spawn. And when I'm running around fighting the enemies, I'm sitting there casting off like crazy. So I think what possibly happened is he was on the edge of like the battlefield, and I ended up aggroing him, and he's just chased me down relentlessly ever since then. But I was able to get him caught up on some stairs, and I killed him. No more Weird Stalker. And my game has been amazing ever since then. I have not had any issues as far as enemies being too difficult, and should let everyone know that I was playing on the easy setting in this game, so combat is not this easy. It's much harder. It takes some timing and a little bit of, you know, dedication to learn it, but once you get it, you know, it's really rewarding. So I will continue in Kunoct on stream, or start a fresh playthrough and use different skills. It really just depends. I really enjoyed playing Kunoct, so I'm probably just gonna pick it up from right there. I don't really want to spoil any story stuff for anyone that's playing it for the first time, since the game is not even out until tomorrow. Now, if you like the video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. I'll be live on Twitch at twitch.tv/xAemonx. We'll have a review watch party before continuing the playthrough. Huge thanks to Awaken Realms for the review early access opportunity. You can find Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon on PC, Steam and GOG, Xbox Series S and X, and PS5. And the game is out May 23rd, 2025. It's probably, by the time you're watching this, it's probably already out. The development team was Questline. They're based in Poland, and the publisher is Awaken Realms. Questline is an internal team. The early access sold 160,000 plus copies with 86% positive reviews. Game length, they say 50 to 70 hours depending on playstyle, but I've already invested probably more than 70, and that was in the first area alone. Full language support for English voiceovers, but also many different written localizations. All of that info and all of this info that I've covered in the video will be in the description on YouTube. Once again, thank you everybody. I really appreciate this. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Go check out Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon. Oh yeah, I'm in the game.